everyone, and welcome to the land of corn. We've traded trees for vegetables. We're at the Iowa Speedway. It's Murph, it's Jacob Collins, and we are live for the Indy Open Series from the state that arguably has the best corn. Jacob, there's going to be some debate between here and Nebraska, but this track, it's not all that far away from Nebraska. Probably about halfway between Des Moines, Iowa, and Omaha, Nebraska. I've been past this place a couple of times on my way to visit my relatives out in Nebraska, and it is a dandy-looking racetrack. 7/8 of a mile. We've got some patches in the corners. We'll talk about that. But this track also home to one of the only memes that we continually see in the INDYCAR community.
Yeah, I believe you're referring to the infamous incident of all the power slide cars on the initial start of a race here just a couple seasons ago, getting on the loud pedal and all simultaneously spinning off into that infield grass. Unfortunate race for them, but quite an iconic incident for the rest of us to kind of take in the grandeur of. But Iowa's always been one of those tracks that kind of has held its own reputation of being quite the interesting facility. You know, it's kind of modeled after the Richmond Raceway over in Richmond, Virginia by one Rusty Wallace. So certainly an interesting place here as we kind of navigate a new iteration of it here this week.
Yeah, so the fans at home, if you're looking at it, you can tell the corners, well, they've got some darker asphalt at the bottom. The inside of the corners, the bottom two lanes, were repaved a couple of years ago to accommodate the stock cars. And really, that's changed how this racetrack races. The remainder of the course has not been repaved since it was opened, and this track has been around for a while now. 2006 was when it opened, September 15th, 2006. 19 years ago, this facility opened, and it hasn't been paved. And so the harsh Iowa winters, they make it pretty bumpy. They make it pretty bumpy. They make it really, really, really rough at the top of the speedway. And so you used to, when you came here, Jacob, we would see guys riding all the way around the wall. We would see cars on the bottom. There would be 3 or 4 lanes of racing. That's not so anymore, is it?
No, not really. A lot of times you have us pointing out those bumps kind of on the high line going off into turn 1, kind of right at around the first seam as you work your way down from the wall. But with as low as you got to get into those corners to utilize that new asphalt they've got lower down, particularly on the entry of both corners, kind of removes a lot of that from the equation.
Yeah, there's a big grip difference between the lighter asphalt and the dark, and it will catch you out if you get hung up on the outside there, especially as the tires wear. Tire wear, it will be a factor here tonight. They are going to fall off, and also, just so everybody out there knows, fuel is going to be a big-time concern here. You can go, Jacob, anywhere between 70 and 90 laps. It really just depends on how light you are with your foot and how much you want to dial that fuel selector up to a bigger number to try to save some gas.
Yeah, I distinctly remember running the INDYCAR iRacing Series here a couple of years ago, and I ran out of gas coming to the line, so what I opted to do was ride through the pit lane because it's a little bit shorter, and I was running out on fumes trying to make it around. So fuel saving, just a big part of what these drivers are going to have to tackle with 160 laps on tap. If you run it too quick, you're going to probably have to make an extra stop, and I don't think anybody wants to have to do that.
I remember that race well, Jacob Collins. I was in contention to win it late. Settled for third behind Rob Malechka and Jesper Orman. Speaking of great drivers here, Anna Klimek leads the points, 17:53. She is 190 markers clear of Logan Edwards. Alan Berteau sits third. Kevin Burrell, Rashad Craig wind out your top 5. But Jacob, that's qualifying, and we are ready for a starting grid, my friends. On the pole with a lap at 191.0665, it's going to be Matt Taylor. To his outside, Anna Klimek, Casey Povolonis, Rashad Craig, they're going to make up row 2. Caleb Brashear, Kevin Burrell, they're going to start from row 3. Then it's Sophia Connell, Alan Berteau, Micah Mixer and Indy Kirkenbauer through the top 10. In 11th, we're going to have Kyle Clinworth. He's checking in. Pete Sturgios is 12th. Matt Hollybaugh 13th. Robin Glakus 14th. Good to see Uncle Rob back in the field. David Hinger 15th. Gary Yost, Crash Neon, Tyler Villamere, Ella Spice, and Cody Grommel will round out your top 20. Mick Seaton is going to go from 21st. And last, Mick Seaton did not set a time.
And one thing kind of this new asphalt has done here is made the lap traffic situation much more tricky on those longer green flag runs should we get one. So that'll be interesting to see how the front group of drivers potentially has to navigate that as we get underway here.
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge, Jacob. I think for me, what I'm looking for here is oftentimes this race is decided not based on who's got the best car, but it's based on who pits at the right time. And so who is going to call their car to pit road at the right time to win the night at Iowa?
Yeah, we got 2 pace laps here. Track's under 1 mile. iRacing dictates we got to go around a couple times, so we'll get these drivers an opportunity to find their bearings, get out on the speedway, potentially try to get a little bit of temperature into those Firestone tires. Don't want to have to try to sail it off into turns 1 and 2 and have it do the death snap like we've seen in Indy Next competition here from Iowa Speedway. Very tricky to get those machines around here, so we'll see who opts to start the fun little wiggles as we get under the pacing here.
You know, it is one of the things I'm interested to see is just exactly who has the advantage early in a tire run and who has it late. Honestly, Jacob, those can be 2 very different things. It's also good to see Matt Taylor up at the front. This is really his coming out party with that Team I5G livery on the car. He joined that team about a month ago, but really we haven't seen Matt in many fights at the front in that car. It's good to see him up front. Good to see that familiar nameplate alongside the likes of Taylor Mills Racing, Votive Racing League. You've got IAR, Indy Alliance Racing, and the Alliance represented up there, along with Fiercely Forward with P1 Docs and Luke Mansky Racing Esports. 6 teams represented in the top 6, Jacob.
Well, they're going to have to find a way to maybe play nice here as we get the pace car rolling off turn number 4 here. We're about to get underway.
We most certainly are. The pace car is going to duck off onto pit lane. The field comes under control of Matt Taylor, and away we go. 160 laps at Iowa are on.
Brashear and Rashad Craig are going to end up side by side through 3 and 4 here. Rashad's going to have the high side. Brashear's going to hold it tough on the bottom, though, as they'll head off into turn number 1 here.
He most certainly will, and Rashad, ever the veteran, he's gonna lean out of that battle, and he's immediately going to come under fire from the general Kevin Burrell. The battle right now is right there around 5th and 6th spot. Kevin Burrell diving under former teammate Rashad Craig. That does not work. Rashad is going to slide into the 5th spot immediately behind them. You've got Indy Kirkenbauer. He's trying to work the high side on defending series champion Alan Berteau.
Yeah, Berteau's going to get that spot for now. Kirchenbauer will be alongside with Sturgios for 8th now. Actually, he's going to wind up back side by side with Berteau as they head off too.
Kevin Burrell does get by Rashad Craig. Indy Kirkenbauer makes the pass. The prodigy goes by Alan Berteau and immediately dives underneath Rashad Craig, and that's a pretty good set of names to be passing. Those are the 2 most recent Indy Open champions. Indy Kirkenbauer is headed toward the front. Up 3 spots in 5 laps. Jacob.
Yeah, he currently is the reigning champ on the next oval side of things, and has had a good way to kind of charge his way through fields when need be. So we'll see if he's able to work his way to the front here before too long.
Kevin Burrell goes by Caleb Brashear, the driver for Luke Mansky Racing Esports, represented in the top 10. Caleb drops back to 5th. Burrell has been hot here at the start. He got by Rashad Craig. He disposes of Caleb Brashear, and now Kevin Burrell, the general, is going to take a look at the cheese man, Casey Povolonis, as we get to lap 8.
Yeah, obviously Kevin doesn't regard himself necessarily as an oval guy, but I'll do his due diligence and give him some credit that he's got quite a bit of chops here, especially on the short oval stuff, as we tend to see from a lot of road racing guys. Is, you know, we talk about how oftentimes these short ovals are basically, as Jarrett Corey coined it, road courses for simpletons, I think is what he said. So certainly good to see Kevin working his way to the front here. Kevin
Burrell is very good at Iowa. I can vouch for that, having raced with him here on many an occasion. And you see him, he's already dropping down into 4th gear. He's working that bottom line. It would not surprise me that now that he's made up some spots, that he's kind of leaned that mix back. You need to make it to lap 80 to make this in one stop. And if you're not careful, you can burn all the fuel on board, Jacob, and you're not going to make it in one stop. So those guys are being careful. I'll tell you who's not being careful right now is Matt Taylor, the number 4 for Team I5G. He is gone, and he is 3 seconds nearly ahead of Anna Klimek in 2nd.
Well, there's kind of two ways of thinking there. You could build that gap up and maybe start to dial it back once the gap's there as the tires start to fall away, or you can kind of commit to it early as maybe some of these cars, you know, a couple rows back or a bit deeper in the field here, and maybe starting to think with we work to lap 13.
Looking on the back of Matt Taylor, he's led all but one lap so far. Anna Klimek did lead very briefly, but he is gone. 3.2 seconds is the lead for Matt Taylor in that Team I5G machine. We're going to look back and see if we can't find a battle deeper in the field. There's Sophia Connell. She is pulled right back up on Alan Berteau. So Berteau has fallen back a little bit in the early going, as has Rashad Craig. And that is not uncommon for Rashad to do on one of these ovals. Alan Berteau, also not a noted oval racer, maybe just kind of taking it easy here in the early going, trying to see what's what, Jacob.
Well, Alan kind of cites this as his favorite amongst all the ovals, and it would make some sense kind of given the nature of the track here as he continues to work inside the top 10 here. And you know what I'm starting to think is maybe some of these guys deeper in the field have maybe more committed to that longer run, that longer save, just to try to stretch this opening stint out as much as possible to maybe shorten that stop, get the overcut rolling, and try to prevent themselves from going laps down, as you do end up going down multiple during a green flag cycle here.
You most certainly do. Now, it's worth noting they've already fallen off a half a second from what they were running earlier. Fastest lap of the race is Matt Taylor. He set it at 17.269. He's running 17.7s now, nearly the same pace as Anna Klimek. And there's Anna. She runs about 0.4 of a second ahead of the cheese man, Casey Povolonis. And Povolonis now is under fire from Kevin Burrell.
Yeah, they're going to wind up likely battling for the 3rd spot before too long here as Burrell slowly starts to close in. Burrell's been kind of running the lower line on the track in that newly paved section of the corner, and Casey's wanted to stay a bit up high here. So that's maybe giving Kevin some opportunity to build some inroads here.
Yeah, watch Casey Povolonis. Povolonis is running in lane 2, and that's going to keep him out of the dirty air of Anna Klimek. Kevin Burrell right wrapped around the bottom line, going down to 4th gear. That's a guy who has done that before. If we look at Povolonis, you can see Kevin Burrell in the rearview mirror. He doesn't go all the way to the bottom, and he is not downshifting into 4th gear, as Kevin Burrell, I believe, is going to draw alongside down the front straightaway, Jacob.
That's a hard thing to do with running those upper lanes, right? As your margin for error is so much lower because you're basically relying on the fact that you're going to get a bit more exit momentum as you're able to kind of keep up that additional speed. Maybe not arc the car down quite as much as guys running the bottom, as Kevin's going to take that spot and start to work his way potentially even further up the field here as he'll be looking to hunt down Anna Klimek.
Yeah, he was a couple of hundredths quicker than Anna Klimek that last time through. Worth noting that Matt Taylor has backed off the pace, 18 flat his last 2 times through. Now that he's got that lead to 3.5 seconds, I believe he's decided to turn the old fuel mixture back, Jacob, and just kind of ride a little bit.
Yeah, doing maybe a little bit bigger of a lift, trying to keep as little fuel running through the machine as he needs to keep kind of an even keel pace with the rest of the field behind him. And that's tricky to do, right? Is you kind of have to gauge just how much time you're willing to give up or kind of maybe set aside for when you have to get back down here and try to work your way to the end of the stint here.
Well, and here's the issue for Matt Taylor. If you look outside of his left eyeball, which we're riding in right now, you look out there and you see lap cars already at lap 25 coming to get lap 26. That's going to affect Matt Taylor, right? He's been in clean air this entire run. Is his car set to go through traffic?
Well, you have to think there's going to be a room of adjustability here, right? You can't have the car just work in clean air, especially at a track like Iowa where the opportunity for lap traffic is more or less a given as soon as the race kind of progresses past, the first 20 some odd laps or so in most cases. So he'll have it figured out, whether that be trying to adjust the roll bars, adjust the weight jack, or he'll have something figured out by the time he gets there, I'm sure.
We've got a battle here, 5th, 6th, and 7th. That's Caleb Brashear in front of Indy Kirchenbauer, and Pete Sturgios has pulled up on the back of the prodigy Indy Kirchenbauer, and he is going to drop to the bottom going down the front straightaway. Sturgios makes the move. He gets past Indy and immediately catches the dirty air from Caleb Brashear. That's going to allow Indy to go back by down the back straightaway. Tremendous racing throughout the midfield here. And now Kirchenbauer gets stuck on the bottom, has to roll out of the throttle. Pass done for Pete Sturgios, and he will set sail after Caleb Brashear.
Yeah, and that's just kind of the nature of the momentum, right? You can kind of do a crossover like that, but you have to be able to kind of be able to carry just enough speed to either get ahead of that car before you get off the corner or be able to hold side by side and head off into the next one. And we saw that work out for Sturgios well, heading off past Kirchenbauer.
Most certainly did. Do want to thank everybody for tuning in. If you haven't already done it, make sure you smash the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to P1 so that you can be notified of all future iRacing events right here on P1. Of course, later on tonight, Jacob, you're going to have the Indy Next Road Series top split, and that is from where, my friend?
Road Atlanta.
Road Atlanta. And so you can catch Jacob at 9 o'clock tonight. He'll be with us. Tomorrow night, it is our triple header night. We're going to start it off with the flagship broadcast that is the Indy Oval Series from Charlotte. That starts 7:15 Eastern. In the middle, you're going to have Jacob with the Indy Next Oval top split, and that is from where this week, Jacob?
North Wilkesboro.
North Wilkesboro. And then Area 51 made a liar out of me. They are off this week, Jacob. Their next show is 9:30, February the 17th, from one of my favorite spots, Kentucky Speedway. Pete Sturgios has pulled all the way up on the back of Caleb Brashear, and he is working all over that Luke Mansky machine, inside him, outside him. Sturgios drops to the bottom, and he is going to get by the Sim Gaming Expo IndyCar Invitational King. Maybe not so fast, Jacob. Here comes Caleb Brashear.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing we saw between Sturgios and Kirchenbauer just a couple laps ago. They're going to go back at it again, but Sturgios is going to carry that momentum on the high side and clear Brashear this time. Likely going to keep that spot here.
Sturgios does make the pass, so move Pete Sturgios up to the 5th spot, and he will set sail after Casey Povolones. The Cheese Man runs along in 4th for the Votive Racing League. Micah Mixer is now in a battle with Sophie Connell, and so there is Micah, the new Votive Racing League colors on his machine. Gives chase after your broadcast partner there, Jacob.
A battle for the final position of the top 10 between those two.
Most certainly is. Wednesday night, we will have the Horizon IndyCar Series from Kentucky. That's going to be at 8, and the Formula Super Series will also be live at 8:20. You can catch Jacob Collins on that broadcast. I will have the Horizon IndyCar Series. And the fun begins this week, Jacob. The AMA Outlands Custom Arms Grand National Series, 8:20 pre-race, 8:35 start on Thursday. AMA Archway Industrial Coatings Truck Series. Same time on Friday, right here on P1. The stock cars are back, Jacob.
Well, you know who might be back making moves is Kevin Burrell. He's got that gap cut down on Amina Klemek to just over 0.3 of a second as they're navigating lap traffic here. And I imagine this is going to be a good opportunity for Kevin to maybe make a move at an opportune time here. Oh, we got a car around.
Caution, yellow
Cody
flag.
Grommel. Cody Grommel is hard into the fence. Cody Grommel will bring out the first caution, and here's Grommel. He's all alone, Jacob. He's all alone, and he just loses it coming off of turn 2, and it almost just sucks you right down to the inside wall there, doesn't it?
Yeah, car goes around quick in a hurry and kind of just shoots straight, right? You come off the corner, the car snaps loose, and you can't really do anything but try to just pray that you don't hit the inside wall, but it comes at you so quick.
You do. This is going to essentially save Gary Yost, who is 18th. Tyler Villamere and Mick Seaton did go a lap down. Grommel is not going to be back out. He has the meatball, and he must respect that meatball. Here comes the entire field, and we knew that this would happen. Nobody is going to stay out, Jacob, except for Villamere and Seaton to get their lap back.
Yeah, this is the opportune time for drivers to fill up the tank, get the new tires on, get back out there and re-rack and restack, if you will. It's an opportune time, but it's still going to put us where we're likely going to have to see another stop at some point before the end of this race, unless we do get another opportune yellow for drivers, maybe, however many laps from now, 70 some odd, to make another stop.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to see. I don't think you're going to see anybody, Jacob, make it from here. We've still got 100, and we're going to have 115 laps or thereabouts to go, and so I don't foresee anybody making that. But when you stop, remember that was one of the keys at the beginning. When you stop is going to be huge here for the fans at home. Do you split this in two? Do you run it as long as possible? Do you short pit it? They were down about 0.7 of a second over their prime time lap times when that caution flew. So there is speed to be had on new tires, Jacob.
Yeah, there's speed to be had on new tires. I think the bigger thing is there's speed to be lost on old tires, right? As we kind of discussed pre-race, is that it may not be a huge deal to be, out there on 10-lap old tires compared to somebody on freshies, but when you get to 40 laps, as we saw where the yellow came out there, that's going to be a much bigger disparity by the time you get to that point.
It most certainly will. Do want to thank everybody for tuning it in. If you haven't already done so, make sure you smash the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to P1 so that you can be notified of all iRacing action. We've got something on the channel, and we've got something for you just about every night, Jacob, of the week now. With the return of the AMA, we'll have the iRacing INDYCAR Series top split on Saturdays. Once the INDYCAR season starts, Sunday night, of course, you've got the Dark Horse DW12 Series, which is the oldest continuously running DW12 series in iRacing, as well as the Votive Racing League. Those two series share Sunday nights at 8. Area 51, that's been a huge fill-up for the channel. That is the oldest continuously running IndyCar league in iRacing, and so we're happy to have all of our partners along for the ride. This is the open top split, the top flight of weekly IndyCar racing in the sim. Matt Taylor is your leader for Team I5G. Anna Klemek second for Taylor Mills Racing. Kevin Burrell, the general, is third for Fiercely Ford, and we are going to get a restart here, Jacob.
Yeah, first restart on the night. Pace car will lead them off turn number 4 here, come down the pit lane, and we're going to get back under green here.
Green flag.
We most certainly are. There goes Brashear. Everybody makes it one more time. Caleb Brashear has dropped under Casey Povolonis. Brashear trying to do battle for that 4th spot.
Yeah, I think he got a good restart there, was trying to make the most of that momentum, but now he's going to end up under fire from Sturgios after kind of losing that momentum trying to make that move.
Yeah, he tried to make the move for fourth. He wound up sixth. Sturgios goes into fifth. And here's the thing, Jacob. Here's the thing. The top side, to me, is better on the short run, but on the long one, you want to be wrapped right around that bottom. You see Rashad Craig back a little bit further. He's under fire from the Prodigy. Indy Kirchenbauer goes high, and Kirchenbauer makes a power move around the former champ. Rashad's going to fight back on the inside, but Rashad Craig is going to lose another spot, make that ninth, and Micah Mixer is going to try to come through from 10th and get past Rashad as well.
Yeah, if there's one thing Indy excels at, it's starts and restarts and making up ground on fresh tires, and he's looking to make as much up as he can here early in the going off this restart.
Do you think, Jacob, that the training that you get in the Indy Next Series, where those cars are extremely finicky on new tires for about 4 or 5 laps, is helping Indy here as he tries to come forward through the field?
I think some of that helps. I'd also think the bigger thing is probably that dirt racing background that I know he has, particularly on the real world side of things on in go-karts. Is you know, those races aren't the longest things in the world, so you got to kind of be on it from the drop of the green. And I know he's been putting in a lot of work trying to get better on the long run, but you can certainly see that short run prowess showing through here tonight.
You most certainly can. He's working on Alan Brutteau, sandwiched between the last 2 Indy Open champions. Indy Kirchenbauer, not scared. He drops to the bottom, and he is just about got a wing alongside Alan Brutteau here.
Yeah, not bad company to be in the slightest. He'll look low, ultimately not get quite alongside there, and he'll tuck back into line down the front stretch here.
Looking off the back of Alan Brutteau, you see Indy Kirchenbauer. He's on the bottom in the Votive Racing League machine, and Rashad Craig is an interested party here. He wants to see which line is going to go, and looky there. Rashad Craig, he says, okay, Indy, if you're gonna dive low and lose your momentum, I believe I'll have that low line. Rashad Craig, he's looking to make a move on Indy Kirchenbauer.
Yeah, Indy's been looking high, kind of in 1 and 2, running a little bit lower in 3 and 4. You kind of see the gap that he gets built up, kind of close up as they exit here, but he'll end up alongside Brutteau off of 2 here.
Yes, he does. That's Kirchenbauer working a high side. Alan Brutteau is on the bottom. Indy kind of gives it a little wiggle coming off the corner. And you can do this. Here's the thing. You can do that all day here, Jacob, at Iowa. If you go back to the race spot 240, Chris Demerit and I did that for about 40 laps at the end of that race. You can run side by side forever here if the conditions are right. Indy makes the move stick, and now Brutteau is under fire from Rashad Craig. It's worth noting Matt Taylor has not quite disappeared into the distance as he did in that first run. 1.2 seconds the advantage, and then it's another 6 or 7 tenths back to Kevin Burrell. Indy, though, the Prodigy goes by Caleb Brashear. Brashear's going to try to pull the crossover.
Yeah, he kind of lost that momentum trying to make that pass on Brashear. Brashear will look to the inside, but Indy will have the momentum off 4.
Indy will have the momentum off of 4. Caleb Brashear on the bottom. They're not. They shouldn't be getting a lot of dirty air from Pete Sturgios ahead of them, and that's a battle because Sturgios is all over the back of Casey Povolones. The cheese man has got some company for that 4 spot.
As Sturgios has kind of been slowly working his way through the field here tonight. He's got a solid battle here for the 4th spot underway. He's just got to kind of build up that momentum, figure out where he can put his car to maybe try to inch his way that ever bit closer, as we kind of saw battle between Indy and Brutteau, is that you kind of need to wait a couple laps to get that move to materialize as kind of the momentum halts for the car you're kind of trying to make the move on.
I really like this line here from Pete Sturgios. You see how he's entering just a little bit higher and then cutting under Casey Povolones as Povolones swings to the outside to arc to exit out toward the wall. You see that, Jacob, right there? That's a beautiful line for Pete Sturgios. He's able to avoid a lot of the dirty air, especially at the apex of the corner, and he's able to pull right up on the rear wing of Casey Povolones.
Yeah, he's going to use kind of the higher lane in 3 and 4, cut down to the inside here. We got ourselves side by side for 4th.
We do indeed. Now, the problem is you dive to the bottom here at Iowa, you do not get any momentum off the corners. You really have to bind the car up tight. You have to drive it off the right rear. It leads to a lot a lot of outside tire issues, especially when you're talking about late in the run. You can overheat those puppies, and that'll lead to snap spin like we saw with Cody Grommel earlier. And so you do have to be careful of that. Right now, I'll tell you who else needs to be careful, Anna Klimek, because the General has arrived. He doesn't have an army with him, but he is coming. He has closed that gap back down to about 35 hundredths of a second.
Yeah, kind of right as you were talking about that, Brashear had a moment off a 2, nearly lost it the same way Grommel did, but ultimately managed to catch the car before making it to that inside wall. He fell to 10th, but he still pointed the right direction, which speaks to volumes to his car control here tonight.
It most certainly does, and right behind him, Micah Mixer had a moment coming off of turn 2. And then behind Mixer, there's a couple of cars that we have not mentioned tonight, Jacob, but I think before it's all said and done, we might. Kyle Clinworth is in the 12th spot. Right behind him is Matt Hollybaugh in 13th. And so those are two guys from that Alliance organization, which is Indy Alliance, Rogue Racing, and Satellite Racing. And there they are. We've got Brashear around. He doesn't hit anything, but Caleb Brashear has he finally couldn't catch it anymore, Jacob.
Yeah, just too much in it, too much beans, as we sometimes like to call it, and just likely had maybe a bit too much wheel in it. Maybe hit the apron almost.
Well, let's see. We're gonna. Such is the nature of Iowa, you've got to go back almost a full lap to find anything. Here's Caleb Brashear. He's going down the backstretch. Everything looks good, but you could see the car wiggle coming off of turn 2. I wonder if that's a setup issue. Maybe a little bit too much right rear spring, a little bit too much front wing. But he's going to go down, and apron maybe a little bit bad, but that car definitely looked like it was a little free in the corner, and it finally just came around with him. Thankfully for Brashear, though, he doesn't hit anything. He doesn't lose a lap. He'll get it pointed back in the right direction, and Caleb Brashear will come. He'll get him some new tires. He'll be at the back, but he's not out of this race by a long shot, Jacob.
Well, the big thing here is we've kind of just entered the outside edge of the pit window here, right? You know, we're working lap 70. We were thinking maybe 90 laps on the high end of just how many laps these drivers can do, and we're seeing a number of cars come down the pit lane, but not Rashad, Craig, Kyle Clinworth, and Matt Hollibaugh. They stay out, maybe trying to roll the dice and use that track position to their advantage here.
Yeah, that's the Alliance that we were talking about. Indy Alliance Racing leads Rogue Racing, leads Satellite. Those are all essentially, despite the different liveries, those are all team cars. And so they've decided as a group to stay out here. That's going to demote Matt Taylor to the 4th spot. And Taylor is not a car that's really been faced with all that much traffic, Jacob.
No, he hasn't. Maybe that's something that they could try to capitalize on with having so many of their cars here up near the front, is kind of being able to put a number of different cars in different lanes, kind of work the traffic. We see it particularly on some of the bigger tracks. We're able to run a bit closer together where you can kind of you can take up all the usable airspace, if you will, and that does some wonders.
You can. Now, the issue with that is going to be you can't block all of them, and Iowa can be 4 lanes wide, and you can use that lightly colored pavement at the top for a couple of laps on sticker tires. Once they get hot, it's not usable, but you can get up there if you've got freshies. You can get up there and drive around them. It'll be interesting to see Taylor, Klimek, and Burrell try to charge through these 3. Those 3 cars have really been the class of the field. And you got to think, I don't know that we're done having cautions here, Jacob. You know, if we get another yellow and these cars, you know, we go 10, 15 laps and get another yellow, these 3 might be in the catbird seat.
Yeah, that's certainly got to be something you could keep in mind, right? If we get a quick yellow here, put it even more comfortably in the fuel window, it'll take a fill up, slap the tires on it, and you're ready to go. Whereas some of these other guys may have already taken a set that they didn't need to here as we work just on to lap 72 as the pace car lights are off.
Well, it's not a matter of taking the set because the tires are unlimited. However, if you're Matt Taylor, Anna Klimek, Kevin Burrell, those cars behind, you're going to have to save fuel. You are right now in a fuel-saving mode here. Rashad Craig, Kyle Clinworth, Matt Hollybaugh, they are not saving fuel. They're going to give it the full juice, and maybe that's something that after a few laps, it takes probably 10 laps or so for the tires to equalize, but after that, it may be a situation where they're able to give it, they're able to keep up by virtue of not being worried about the fuel mileage where everybody else is going to have to be.
Yeah, we'll just have to see. Pace car is going to get down off the course here. Rashad Craig in control of the field.
He most certainly is. Got to be
Green
careful
flag,
on those
green
old
flag.
tires. Here they go. Craig, Clinworth, Hollybaugh lead him back to the green flag. And let's watch and see if Matt Taylor can charge back through this field. Sabers drawn. We're going to watch from the grandstands. Craig Clinworth got Craig and Clinworth, my goodness, got a great jump. They have left Matt Taylor and Anna Klimek. They've left Matt Taylor and Anna Klimek holding the old boat anchor back there. Clinworth and Craig have reached out and raced away by nearly by over a second over Matt Taylor early, and that is huge for those cars.
That's huge for them, and I just caught the battle between Kirchenbauer and Berteau for ninth here. Kirchenbauer is going to make that move stick. He's got about a half a second to work back to Pete Sturgios in the 8th spot. Sturgios nearly makes contact with the outside wall. Things are hot and heavy here deep in the field, but it'll be interesting to see if those front couple cars can kind of make an inroad and make something happen while these guys are needing to figure things out here deeper in the field.
Well, and this has to be this has to be an exceedingly frustrating thing for Matt Taylor. He's been the dominant car. That Team i5G machine has been rampant throughout the first half of this race, but he finds himself at halfway. He's having to save fuel. He's going to have to go to the outer edge of the fuel window. He's got new tires, but he can't really use them, and he's got a wall of dirty air in front of him, Jacob.
Well, some of this might be helpful for him too, right? He can kind of ride behind Matt Hollybaugh for a good while here and make his fuel save that little bit easier. We kind of talk about how it's a lot easier to roll around, lift and coast, use a little bit of the draft to your advantage down these straightaways to make that fuel save just that little bit easier, and especially given how extreme or maybe on the outer edge of that fuel window it is, that might be what he really, really needs here.
It is indeed. Now, we were on board with Matt Taylor. We're going to jump up here, and we're going to get into Rashad Craig's machine. Now, listen to Rashad, the difference. Just a breath on the throttle, stands in the gas, not saving any fuel, not rolling out any more than is necessary, and he's got the benefit of having the clean air. And right now, Rashad Craig is about a tenth of a second a lap quicker than Matt Taylor, who is closing in on Matt Hollybaugh. And Taylor is going to make that move sooner rather than later, I would think, Jacob.
Well, he could just be trying to make it interesting, right? You know, he's got Anna Klimek a couple tenths back from him now. He might be just trying to play the timing of it right, so he can maybe make it easier for some of these cars deeper in the field to work their way forward. As ultimately, these cars at the front still have to make a stop sooner than the rest of them, and that might just shuffle them all the way to the back before too long.
It will. Now, there's going to be a huge advantage of those cars, though, because if they run this thing out, the longer they stay out and the longer they stay ahead of Matt Taylor, Anna Klimek, and Kevin Burrell, the better off it is for them. They're not going to pit until they absolutely have to, which by my count is going to be about lap 120 to 125, Jacob. And then they're going to have 30 to 40 laps on a half tank of fuel and sticker tires, and it is going to turn those cars into rocket ships. Meanwhile, they're going to be 2 laps down probably, but they're going to be a second a lap faster than everybody else.
Yeah, that's the gamble you play, right? But the race could also go green. Those cars wind up potentially a couple laps down at some point in time, and then the yellow falls, right? It's a high risk, but it may be a high reward play. It just depends on how the rest of the race shakes out.
You know, that's absolutely right. It is worth noting Rashad Craig, half a second over Clindy. Kyle Clinworth is second. That's Indy Alliance Racing over Rogue Racing. Matt Hollybaugh is now under fire from Matt Taylor. That's a pair of Matts. Taylor is going to go through, and I got to believe with 44 laps on that set for the satellite racing entry, they're starting to get a little bit past their sell-by date, Jacob.
Yeah, 44 going on to 45 laps on those tires. They're definitely starting to show their age compared to the roughly nearly 20-lap tires that Taylor has on his machine. The last time by speeds between the two, Hollibaugh was 4/10 slower, maybe finding that those old tires are very, very difficult to manage on his machine tonight.
That graphic will tell the story as we see the general, Kevin Burrell. He's going to drop underneath Anna Klimek, and we got to remember, Klimek really needs to concern herself with the points situation. She's got a massive lead. Over Logan Edwards, who is not here. But Alan Berteau is in that mix too, and so she just needs a good finish. She cannot afford to have this be a drop and have Alan Berteau score a bunch of points.
I think that's also why you've seen some of these cars maybe a bit deeper kind of riding around, because they know that ultimately the fastest way to end your night is to put yourself in a sticky situation you can't really back out of, and that would potentially be the case given the pace disparity between the kind of the cars working their way on really old tires compared to these guys on potentially some fresher ones.
Well, they are, and you can kind of tell Hollibaugh, with all the fuel to burn, he's able to stay just ahead of Anna Klimek, and you got to wonder, are those cars, Klimek and Burrell and even Matt Taylor, short enough on fuel that they can't go any harder than that? They can't use the new tires. Caution on the speedway. Micah Mixer, Caleb Brashear involved. That is going to be night done for Caleb Brashear, and we're going to see what has befallen the Luke Mansky Racing Esports driver. He started at the front of this pack. He has already had one spin.
Looks like maybe a hardware failure for Mixer, maybe?
Well, Brashear, it appears.
Oh, no.
Brashear spun to avoid Mixer. Mixer comes off of turn 4 and snap spins it and then overcorrects. He's going to get in the wall, and Brashear loops it, trying to avoid it. He overcorrects and noses into the wall. It's night done for Brashear. Micah Mixer with a meatball. I don't know how severe that damage is for Mixer. The wheels appear straight on it, Jacob. It might just be a new nose cone for the Votive Racing League machine number 20.
I'm not seeing anything else significant on that machine. We'll see if he's able to kind of get that wing change. It's a fairly quick 5-second repair if that's the case. We'll see how fast he manages to roll back out here.
Cars up on the jacks. It's worth noting that this was a prayer answered for Rashad Craig, Kyle Clinworth, and Matt Hollibaugh, because now they've cycled forward to the front of the pack. Those cars were at the fringe of the top 10 not too long ago. Mixer does have more damage than just the nose cone. It still sits in the pit lane, and the car does have the meatball, so he does need to respect that. But Rashad Craig is your leader over Taylor, Clinworth, Klimek, and Hollibaugh.
Yeah, the big thing here at this stage will be just how quickly do people opt to make moves forward, right? We're kind of at the point where I don't think we're not going to see another pit stop, I don't think, for sure. It's kind of the bailout for those guys trying to roll the dice on that one. So we'll just have to see how quickly do these guys start to end up under fire from one another, or is a long run pace really going to be in their list of concerns?
Do want to thank everybody out there for joining in. Another big audience for the Indy Open Series tonight. If you haven't already done it, make sure you smash the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to P1 so that you can be notified of all the iRacing action that we carry. Later on tonight, Jacob Collins is going to have the Indy Next Road Series top split. Tomorrow, we've got a doubleheader. It's the Indy Oval top split from Charlotte, followed by the Indy Next Oval top split. Area 51 will return next week for the back end of the Tuesday triple header. Wednesday, the Horizon INDYCAR Series goes at 8, along with the Formula Super Series at 8:20. Thursday marks the return of the AMA Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series, pre-race 8:20, 8:35 start. Friday, we're going to have the AMA Archway Industrial Coatings Truck Series, again, 8:20 pre-race, 8:35 start. Saturday, when the INDYCAR Series begins, we'll have the iRacing INDYCAR Series live here on P1 Saturday afternoons. And Sunday nights, you can catch the Votive Racing League or the Dark Horse DW12 Series. They share Sundays every other week at 8 o'clock. Pace car is going to duck on off. Rashad Craig is in control of the field, and he is going to be pursued by Matt Taylor, I am sure, in a hurry.
Glenworth gets a solid launch on Taylor. He's going to look to the inside immediately here.
Yes, he is. Clindy taking a look, and Rashad Craig absolutely loves to look up in his mirror and see Kyle Clinworth all over the back of Matt Taylor.
Matt Taylor, big head of steam onto the front straightaway, though. He'll be looking to the outside of Craig. Clindy's going to kind of slot in between the two in terms of the air lanes.
Whoa, big block from Rashad Craig. Taylor dives down to the inside. Taylor has the inside, but Craig holds him off.
Yeah, aggressive move off turn number 2, but nonetheless, we're going to keep stuck at the front here. Craig, Taylor, and Clenworth, three-way battle for the lead.
Yes, it is. We're going to keep it right here. Taylor high, Clindy middle, Craig low. Craig is your leader. I misspoke. I said Velocity Racing League. It's the Votive Racing League that happens on Sunday night. Thank you to Shane Coker, the series director there, for letting me know that. Rashad Craig runs Matt Taylor up the hill. He's going to give the draft to Clinworth. Can Clindy make it stick and get by Taylor on the bottom? No.
Wheel bang.
Contact!
Over the wall.
Matt Taylor hard into the outside wall. He does not.
Caution,
now there's the
yellow
caution.
flag.
It was getting chippy up there for the lead, and we've got our first victim. Matt Taylor and Rashad Craig make contact, and I think the best way to show this one is going to be the blimp, Jacob. So tell me what you see here.
Well, my suspect is Taylor wanted to try to hit the fast portion of the track on that black stuff, and Rashad was already committed to the upper edge of that, and they just kind of met in the middle.
Yeah, that's it's not really blocking, but it's Rashad's corner, and so Taylor wants to drill that middle groove, and Rashad Craig is there, and you have to understand, if you're a Matt Taylor fan, you have to understand Rashad Craig has Kyle Clinworth behind him, and that is that's a corporate teammate, and so Rashad is trying to give Clindy the bottom, I think, and he didn't. Taylor turned in. He expected Rashad to turn in. Rashad did not turn in. They bang wheels, and Matt Taylor catches the fence. See, there's Rashad Craig. He's going to let Clinworth have the bottom, and Clinworth drills the bottom, and Taylor turns in, and Rashad just did not turn in, and so into the wall goes Matt Taylor, and that has got to be frustrating. Matt Taylor led a large portion of this race. In the early going, he sat on the pole. He was running away with it early on, and he ends the night on the hook. So after all that, Jacob, talking about pit strategy and tire wear and all of those things, nobody pits in the top 12. Villamere, Seaton, Spice, Yost, Crash, Neon all came to pit lane, as did Micah Mixer. Mixer one lap down. They've all got fresh tires on. Everybody else just came in 10 laps ago. They are still out there. On the slightly used tires. We've got 45 laps to go. Do want to thank everybody for joining in. If you haven't already done so, make sure you smash the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to P1 so that you can see all of our iRacing action here. Do want to welcome Christian Steele, Christian Hildegard. Those are two old pros and respected names in the community, Jacob.
Certainly the case. Going to wind up with, 55 some odd laps left here to go as we wind up back under pacing here. And I think now the situation becomes is that aggression going to be rewarded or is it going to be scorned?
Well, you don't know. You don't know. Of course, it's awfully hard. It's awfully hard to say in that situation, right? You can see it from Taylor's point of view. You can see it from Rashad's point of view. You can see it from Clindy's. At the end of the day, they're racing extremely hard, and Rashad Craig knows that if Taylor gets past him, he is likely gone into the sunset, and so he's going to race him extremely hard there. And I have to, full disclosure. I mean, Rashad Craig is, I race on that team, and so I need to be, I need to be impartial, right? But it was very much a hard racing incident. Green flag is back out. Rashad Craig, Kyle Clinworth get the jump, and they motor away. Anna Klimek did not get a good restart. She is some nearly half a second behind the leaders. Clinworth looking to the outside, and he's now doing what we saw Pete Sturgios do earlier. Inner high, come off low, getting that clean air off the corner, and he's able to kind of block up Klimek and Hollybaugh back there. Casey Povolonis with a fine run to 6th, and Pete Sturgios, Indy Kirkenbauer, they're going to do battle for 7th and 8th rather, and those two, I think, have passed more cars than anybody else, and they seem to have found each other. They're going to try to pass each other, Jacob.
They've certainly seemed to have been involved in the most battles on track throughout the night for certain, and now they're tied up with one against each other, so that's just another one on the tally count for them.
Yeah, it most certainly is. Indy Kirchenbauer gets the best of that battle. He's going to remain in 7th, Sturgios 8th. Alan Bruteau is 9th. Kevin Brell had made that fine charge earlier as we see Casey Povolonis duck under Matt Hollybaugh. Povolonis is trying to gain a spot. Hollybaugh has the outside. They almost touch coming off of turn number 4.
Those corner exits very, very tight as both drivers try to work those upper lanes, and Hollybaugh and Povolonis are kind of getting all acquainted with those outside walls closer and closer every lap.
It does. I mean, we're at that stage of the race now where you're probably not going to stop anymore, and you're going to have longevity in those tires. And Jacob, you might as well use them. There's no bonus for bringing them back to the pit lane. Anna Klimek was working over Kyle Clinworth. She gets checked up. That's going to allow Casey Povolonis to pull back up on Clinworth. Pull back up on Klimek. Meanwhile, Kevin Brell has entered the chat. He'd like to have 5th for Matt Hollybaugh.
And Kevin's kind of just been playing quiet here, in the midst of the top 5 battle all night long. He's looking to kind of capitalize as the battle heats up ahead of him. Maybe he can start to make some inroads working that nice low lane he's been working all night long.
We'll see. Kevin Brell in that low lane, the way Kevin runs it, does tend to pay off in the longer term here. And so we'll see where that lands him 25, 30 laps from now. Rashad Craig still leads it. Clindy 2nd, Klimek 3rd, Povolonis 4th. And Burrell still challenging Hollybaugh for that 5th spot. Now Kevin Brell gets under to Matt Hollybaugh. Hollybaugh went way wide in that corner. It's almost like he pulled over to let Burrell go, but he finds some traction coming off of turn 2. He's able to keep alongside down the backstretch, but Kevin Brell too strong on the bottom. He is going to go to 5th, and now let's see if Burrell can get up here and challenge these front 4 runners.
Yeah, you've got the Alliance and the Entente ahead, and Kevin in the fiercely forward machine. Is he going to go fiercely forward here through those cars just ahead of him?
Well, you've got Craig and Clinworth as we ride on board with the General Kevin Burrell. You got Craig and Clinworth 1-2. Team cars, of course. Anna Klimek third. Taylor Mills Racing. They have an alliance with the Votive Racing League machine of Casey Povolonis, and so they're working together. And then you've got Kevin Burrell, who's really kind of the lone soldier. His team teammate is Alan Berteau. Berteau is ninth. Matt Hollybaugh would be in that alliance with Craig and Clinworth. He's sixth. Kirchenbauer, seventh, would be with Klimek and Povolonis. And so the team dynamic is always fascinating, and it's in play, Jacob Collins. It's fascinating, it's in play, and we're getting down to show and tell time. The top 5 are all now in a conga line here as we head toward just about 30 miles to go, 40 laps, 39 now, here at Iowa.
And the front 5 have kind of congested back together as close as they realistically can, given how many grooves are available here. We'll just have to see if they start to work each other over here in the closing stages. You know, we've got a little under 40 laps to go. That's starting to get to crunch time with how fast these ones get clicked off.
Yeah, you're looking at 17, about 18 well, you're looking at 17.9, 18 seconds a lap. 40 laps, 37 now, is not going to take long around this 7/8 mile speedway. Clinworth is high, Craig is low, Klimek is low, Povolonis is kind of trying to run the middle. Kevin Burrell is married to that white line around the bottom, all sorts of different lines. Let's jump up in the blimp and you'll see it. Watch the different lines as they go through here. Everybody trying to hunt, Jacob. Everybody is trying to hunt the clean air on the front wings of those Dallaras as we get closer to show and tell time here at Iowa in the Indy Open Top Split.
Burrell looks to the inside on Povolonis now. That'll put him alongside here just slightly. Not quite able to get there off the exit, but we'll see if he's able to bound that momentum back up.
We will indeed. Looking off the back of Anna Klimek, her rearview mirror has the ringside seat for Povolonis versus Burrell. That is right behind Anna Klimek, and you're riding on board with Anna. Povolonis does seem to be losing just a little bit of ground to Kevin Burrell. Lap over lap, running that high side. Burrell now going to get tighter to Casey Povolonis as we head off down the front stretch to get lap 128.
Klimek looks to the inside down the backstretch here.
Yeah, she's going to dive on Kyle Clinworth for second, and you got to wonder, is that kind of fool's gold? She's going to drop down there and immediately get a face full of dirty air from Rashad Craig, who leads this race. Clindy able to keep the momentum on the high side. Klimek loses a ton of momentum and falls back into the clutches of Casey Povolonis and Kevin Burrell, and Burrell is all over Povolonis now.
Yeah, Kevin's going to look to the inside once more. Not close enough, but you have to wonder if it's a matter of when and not if one of these cars is going to make it around the other and kind of shake this order up here at the front.
Most certainly so. Kevin Burrell is trying to get up there and do battle with Clinworth and Craig, but he's got a very quick Taylor Mills Racing entry for Anna Klimek and a very fast Votive Racing League machine for Casey Povolonis in between him. This group, by the way, is a second and a half clear of Matt Hollybaugh and Indy Kirchenbauer. Alan Berteau and Pete Sturgios, they're also part of that battle. And then you got a little bit of distance back to Sophia Connell in that top 10. David Hinger, Mick Seaton, Ella Spice, Uncle Robin Glakis, Crash Neon, and Gary Yost round out the lead lap cars. Micah Mixer is one lap down, and he would desperately love a caution or two to see if he can't get the wave around and then get some fresh tires on that car so he can come do battle with Povolonis and Kirchenbauer here in the top 10.
He's certainly a race of what could have been for him. But Burrell's still all over. We still got two solid battles here at the front as they're both side by side heading into 1 and 2.
Yeah, they most certainly are. Anna Klimek is going to get through Kyle Clinworth, maybe. Clindy's got her pinned right down on the bottom of the speedway. And like I said, you can do that here, lap over lap over lap. It requires an extreme amount of trust, but you can pinch that car on the bottom, down on the bottom, and really use up the right front and the right rear on that car on the bottom. Now, it's going to use up your right front too, but the big wiggle from Anna Klimek, and that's going to let Casey Povolonis charge right back to her rear wing.
Try as she might, that low lane just isn't able to garner enough momentum to get alongside long enough to make the move down the straightaways. Ultimately, that's where the passes kind of wind up happening. But she's still hanging tough here. We'll see if that move can materialize once more as we're working on lap 137.
We most certainly are. All that's done is let Rashad Craig disappear off in the distance, 0.8 of a second. Klimek to the bottom of Clindy one more time. She just can't quite clear him.
You got all that at the front, and then you've got the battle for sixth between Kirchenbauer and Hollabaugh. It's hard to find where there isn't cars alongside of each other on the speedway.
Klimek finally gets job done on Clindy, but she is nearly a second back of Rashad Craig. Povolonis is under all kinds of fire from Kevin Burrell, and Klimek is going to set sight on Rashad Craig. Can she get there and pass in 18 laps? Burrell, big move to the bottom on Povolonis, but he gets the face full of dirty air from Clinworth. Povolonis wiggles and hits the wall coming off of turn number 4.
And they'll move Burrell up a spot. He'll be looking to get onto the bottom step of the podium here with Clinworth ahead. Everything's starting to materialize in the last 20 laps here.
It most certainly is. Down to the last 17 circuits. Kyle Clinworth trying to hold on to the podium. Anna Klimek has chopped the lead for Rashad Craig in half. Anna Klimek is coming with a head of steam, and when she gets there, we're going to show it. Kevin Burrell drops to the bottom of Kyle Clinworth. Here's Burrell at the bottom. They nearly touch going into turn 1. Clindy out wide. Clinworth nearly tags the wall. Burrell's going to get through. Does Povolonis go through? He's going to get the face full of dirty air, but I think Clinworth's tires are pretty much at this point cooked, and he's going to slap the wall coming off of turn 4 as well.
Yeah, you have to imagine all the fighting he had with himself and Klimek made it difficult for his tires to stay underneath of him. And let's not count out the battle that's going on right behind him. You've got Hollabaugh, Kirchenbauer, and Brutteau all under a blanket working for that 6th spot.
Yes, they are. Hollabaugh with about a 3-car length lead over Indy Kirchenbauer, and they've got Alan Brutteau right behind them, and Pete Sturgios is coming into that battle as well, and Sturgios has been worth the price of admission. Brutteau drops to the bottom on Kirchenbauer one more time, and it's not like we haven't seen Indy at the top of. It's not like we haven't seen Indy at the top lane at all today. He's got the right rear in the cushion, familiar to him, dirt track guy, go-kart guy. He's up at the top, and Brutteau is making the bottom work. Hollabaugh leaves in the lane. Brutteau gets through on Kirchenbauer, and he'll set sail after Matt Hollabaugh, but we need to get back to the front because Anna Klimek is all over Rashad Craig for the lead of this race. We're coming to get 11 laps to go. Anna Klimek is there on Rashad Craig.
Yeah, Brutteau and Hollabaugh side by side. Klimek is working on Craig. Only a handful of laps to go here. There's only so much time that can be had to try to make these moves.
There is. Now, how is Anna Klimek going to approach this? We've seen Rashad Craig be willing to maneuver his car against his opponents in this race. We've seen Anna Klimek be pretty docile in this one. She hasn't really tried to march forward except getting past Kyle Clinworth. How aggressive is she going to be, knowing there's a ton of championship points on offer here, and she could seal the deal almost with this big haul that's on offer here at Iowa?
Well, we saw Craig have a bit of a slide off of 4 that last time by, work all the way to the outer edge of the track, and that allowed Clement to get alongside briefly. We'll see if that continues, or maybe it happens again here before this race closes out and she can get an opportunity to make this move for the lead here.
Well, and for Rashad Craig, you've got Micah Mixer up there. Now, Mixer is a lap down, but you'll see his car just in the view, looking out of Anna Klimek's right eye. Look, I mean, that lap car up there is going to play into this a little bit. Klimek going to challenge the outside of Rashad Craig, turn 3. She's going to get there. And Rashad Craig did the same thing. He didn't turn into the apex. He laid apex in the corner. Anna Klimek hard in the wall.
History repeats itself, and that's certainly not something we want to see.
Klimek is going to keep it going, but now Rashad Craig is under fire from Kevin Burrell. Burrell moves into second. Povolonis is third. Berteau fourth. Clinworth has faded to fifth. Can Rashad Craig hold off Kevin Burrell with 5 laps to go? Mixer gets out of the way. He nearly gets into the fence, and now it's a 3-way battle between Burrell, Povolonis, and Craig. Two laps to go now. Rashad Craig under extreme duress. Kevin Burrell and Casey Povolonis are there. This is the battle for the lead. Last 2 laps here at Iowa. Indy Open top split week 8. Kevin Burrell goes to the high side. He can't quite get there on Rashad Craig coming up at 4. They touch. Burrell loses the front wing. He is going to be forgiven. Klimek continues to roll. Craig is around. Povolonis hard in the wall. Rashad Craig crashes. That's going to give the lead over to Kevin Burrell. Alan Berteau is going to be second. Casey Povolonis is out of this race. Clinworth is going to be third. Burrell is going to win it. Berteau is going to be second. Clinworth is third. So at the end of an interesting race, it's going to be the fiercely Ford teammates of Alan Berteau and Kevin Burrell as your winners. Kyle Clinworth will bring it home third. Matt Hollybaugh, Indy Kirchenbauer round out your top 5, followed by Pete Sturgio, Sophia Connell, Casey Povolonis, David Hinger, and Mick Seaton gets the top 10. In 11th, Gary Yost, Ella Spice, Crash Neon, Rashad Craig will bring it home 14th. Robin Glakis is 15th. Micah Mixer, Anna Klimek, Tyler Villamere, Matt Taylor, and Caleb Brashear will round out the top 20. Cody Grommel, after his early accident, is going to be 21st. Jacob, I have a feeling this interview room is going to be fairly interesting. And for that, we're going to start with Clindy, Kyle Clinworth. Clindy, you've got Murph and you've got Jacob Collins in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
You got us. So you had a ringside seat for most of that action, but before that, was it just a matter of cooking the tires and losing touch with Rashad and Anna there?
I had spent a lot of time trying to make sure Anna had no clean air, right? So Rashad was running like a lazy middle entry and then bottom and then middle off. So I was trying to enter in the middle, get to the bottom, and exit on the bottom. And every time I messed it up, I was just eating all of Rashad's dirty air with extra wheel. So I probably should have just been running my own line. And because Anna was going to get me no matter what. She was crazy fast. And just had focused on, preserving a podium. And I lucked into one anyway. Probably not deserved at all, but here I am.
Sometimes that happens. That can be the racing luck. Jacob, do you have anything for third place Kyle Clinworth this evening?
Jacob is on deafened, so if he's trying to speak, he's both muted and can't hear us.
So Jacob Collins, he may be preparing for his Indy Next broadcast tonight, Clindy. And so with that, we'll let you have the floor. Friends, family, sponsors, shout-outs. The floor is yours.
Yeah, first off, congrats to the Fiercely Forward drivers who got 1-2, and I just really lamentable that this racetrack provides a type of racing where the leader can be like, hey, I don't want to come off of the pavement. I don't want to share the pavement. And it just creates really, really unfortunate situations. So look forward to the next oval. I think we have one more this season here in Open, but I'm not going to be on the road courses. I don't think my iRating's not high enough. So nice to at least get one interview before the season wraps up here. So thanks to all my friends, family sponsors, those at Rogue Racing, those at Advance.gg, those in the Votive Racing League, and of course P1 Broadcasting. So thanks for all you guys do, and enjoy your time with the Fiercely Forward guys.
Absolutely. I think I'm going to bring him up. In tandem. But Clindy, thank you so much for stopping in. Keep going fast and having fun, buddy.
Will do, Murph. Catch you later.
Yes, sir. That is Kyle Clinworth. And as we do when there are teammates that make the podium, we're going to bring them both up. With us. We've got Kevin Burrell and Alan Berteau here with us. You've got Murph in the P1 broadcasting booth. I think Jacob Collins is off prepping for his Indy Next broadcast, so it's just me tonight. But boys, I don't know quite what to say about that. My first question is for Alan. You ran near the back of the top 10 for most of the race. We saw you start to come forward at the end. Did you feel like you had saved enough tires to mount the charge at the end there?
Yeah, that was my goal, but for the first parts of the race, there were just caution every time, and I was like, no, please, I just want my tires to work. And I didn't even know if it would work. But yeah, until the 140 lap, it was like, yeah, I was struggling a lot behind the guys, and then the tires were just working. So I was like, overtake, and it worked. So yeah, we're a bit lucky. I think I could have gotten the win at the end, but I didn't know if Kevin had a damage or not. That was very fun at the end.
Yes, I had no front wing or a damaged front wing. It was sus. I didn't even realize Alan was that close to me at the end, and I looked behind me, and there's a couple yellow cars, so I just see him behind me, and I'm like, who the hell is that behind? They're gonna oh, this is a lap car, right? Oh my god, it's Alan! It was incredible. It was very, either way it had gone there. If he had pulled through at the final straight, I couldn't have even been mad.
Yeah, I mean, it's you had it popped back into place on our screen, Kevin. So I don't know if it definitely wasn't gone. It was somewhat forgiven, but certainly when it does that,
yeah. I think it was just damage. Yeah. I felt understeer in the final corner, but my tools were so aggro at that point. maybe that's actually a good thing. I don't know.
Well, it could be. Was there a particular point in the race where you felt the car getting unsafe here? You tend to get a lot of snap oversteer, especially on exit, and you can really push the thing like a dump truck if you're not careful coming off the corner
Yes.
too.
Yeah, the problem, I mean, I'm sure you guys obviously saw it, but I spent a long time, I think it was behind Casey. I knew that we kind of had pace on him, and I also knew that, like, I knew I had short run pace on him, but I also knew that it's possible to defend here. It's possible to make a pass hard, and we all know I'm not the best at skillful oval passes. So I tried a few times, backed off, and kept trying, and I started to see my front right temp creep up, and I was just like, okay, I need to get ahead of it on the tools. But then I started thinking, like, man, I do not want to throw this away by going too high and just snapping out of 2 or snapping out of 4. That would have just killed me. I would have lost it. So I tried to play it safe, and I think that did hurt the tires. I mean, the end of the race was, well, I'm sure you're going to talk about that too. But
I mean, you know, I'm going to ask you for your version of events because certainly you ran up into that fight. I don't know if Alan saw any of it at all. Obviously, I have connections, and so I need to be very careful here and be the impartial broadcaster. But what did you see?
I mean, the initial incident between Rashad and Anna, I saw what looked like a kill. I was really, honestly, I was just like staring at my tools. So I only saw it out of the corner of my eye. I can't make too much of a judgment on that. But after that, shenanigans occurred. There was some pretty dubious driving. I mean, it sucks, right? I mean, I normally I have a lot of respect for Rashad, and I didn't really think that what he did today was very on. I think it was just, I don't know what to say. I mean, I've never seen, Rashad be that aggressive, or maybe even arguably pointlessly aggressive. I've just never seen it, and it sucks for Anna because I mean she had crazy pace today. Obviously, I mean I think we maybe struck it rich with the set. I think we had we could baby it and still be quick at the end. But I don't think that really should have played out the way it did. And I mean, I have to be careful what I say, obviously. But to me, pardon the language, but it looked fucked to me. I mean, that's all I can say. I kind of just drove through it, and that was about all I could hope for. I tried to stay out of it.
Understood. Well, I appreciate both you gentlemen stopping by. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, Alan and Kevin, as always. You and I go pretty far back, and pretty far back here too. So it's good to see
Indeed.
you. It's good to see you with a trophy in your hand. Alan, I'll let you go first. Friends, family, sponsors, the floor is yours. Shout them out, my friend.
I don't know who to thank, but yeah, it was a pleasure to help building a set, and we had a lot of practice here. So the results is a bit better than what we expected, but that was fun, and I hope it will continue.
Absolutely, Kevin.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, it's exactly the same. Everyone this week, put some laps in, and that's I think that's what we need. Ultimately, that's what we need. Our team, we're not that many in number. There's no great wall of fiercely forward, so to speak. And everyone put some time in this week. I was happy that I could even contribute at all. And yeah, I mean, that's crazy. I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, guys, but I think this is my first ever Monday Soft Oval win. I'm like pretty sure. I never thought that would happen. I certainly did not think it was. I thought it was a chance we'd be fast today, but I did not think it was gonna go down like that with the 1-2 for us. Yeah, I'm very, 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 very happy, and it sucks it came at anyone else's expense, but I'm very happy about the result for us. And I think going into IS, it's awesome. Of course, the whole team, our sponsors, P1 Docs, everybody, and Rob in my chat for giving me some advice mid race was very nice. My parents, I'm sure they're over the moon right now. They probably they know I suck at ovals, so yeah, very happy. And of course, you guys, as always, for putting on a great broadcast.
Absolutely. Well, we definitely appreciate you guys stopping in. Kevin, Alan, keep going fast and having fun, boys, and we'll see you at the next one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. That is Kevin Burrell and Alan Berteau, the Fiercely Forward duo, bring it home in the top 2 spots. That certainly was a race. And again, Jacob Collins has gone off to prepare for his next broadcast, or his broadcast, because he is up next here on the P1 Broadcasting Network. Indy Next is going to be coming to you in just a short period of time. Their top split road broadcast tomorrow. We're gonna have a doubleheader. It's gonna be the Indy Oval top split live from Charlotte at 7:15 Eastern, and then immediately following the Indy Next Oval top split. Following the conclusion of that race, Area 51 is off this week. They'll be back next week for a triple header. That race from Kentucky. We do have both the Horizon INDYCAR Series at 8 o'clock from Kentucky and the Formula Super Series at 8:20. They're going to be going on Wednesday. Thursday marks the return of the Stalkers to the P1 Broadcasting Channel. Join Caleb Brashear and I for the Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series, 8:20 pre-race, 8:35 start, and then Friday, the AMA Archway Industrial Coatings Truck Series. Same time, same channel, same awesome show. Both of those races are going to be from Daytona. On Sundays, we've got the Votive Racing League sharing time with the Dark Horse DW12 Series. Those races start at 8 o'clock, and it's every other week for those 2 series. And beginning with the start of the INDYCAR Series, we will be home of the iRacing INDYCAR Series. We want to thank the drivers, the competitors, as always, their fans, all the viewers. We had a wonderful crowd one more time tonight. If you haven't already done it, make sure you smash the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to P1 so that you can be notified of all of future broadcasts. But we really want to thank the people that really make it possible: the military, the police, the firemen, the EMTs driving the ambulance, and the nurse that unloads you when they get there. From the bottom of our hearts, we thank you all. Stay tuned. Indy Next Road Top Split is next.